Thank you for staying with us. Before we bring you business, let's quickly hop on this conversation on the Life and Times of Jesse Jackson with Professor Anthony Kila. He is a strategy and policy expert. Thank you very much for being here. I was just writing that Jesse's legacy is known and his life is well celebrated. So instead of asking about you to talk about his life and times, I'd rather ask, in what ways did his activism extend beyond the U.S. civil rights movement to global human rights issues?
Well, I think it is important to start by saying that the passing away of Jesse Jackson marks an end in the global civic history. It does not close the chapter he has started to write, but it marks an end to a part of it. Jackson belonged to a generation that saw struggle not as spectacle, but as a structure. He did not see struggle as an outrage alone. He saw it as organization. So his passing away, as you ask now, calls us to reflect on things that go far beyond the borders of the United States and takes us especially in a place like Africa, where questions of leadership, justice, inclusion, and governance remain both urgent and resolved. If we want to remember Jesse Jackson properly, we must resist simplification. He was not just a civil rights activist in the narrow sense. He was a political organizer, a moral rhetorician, a bridge builder, and at times even an uncomfortable mirror held to power. So to that extent, the civil leadership is something that becomes universal. And what his America went through is what many countries in Africa are still going through. And I dare say perhaps some part of America. So beyond America, Jesse Jackson becomes a symbol of struggle of liberation that not only lamented injustice and exclusion, but importantly, he became a structure. He saw struggle as organization, not just lamentation.
Okay, let's bring it a bit closer home. What would you say his life should teach Nigeria about sustaining movements, building political coalitions, and transforming protest energy into long-term institutional change? Because we know that he ran for president twice. He found other ways to push his purpose, beyond protesting. So I want you to, give us some thoughts on that.
Well, I think the lesson to learn there is to see organization as power. One of Jackson's most enduring lessons, I think, is that protest without organizations expires quickly. Protests and marches, they create visibility. But what gives durability is institutions. And that is one thing that Jackson understood deeply, from his work with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to his leadership at the Rainbow, the Push Coalition you mentioned. He invested not only, this is the point, not only in moral appeal, not only in emotional disdain or social discomfort, he pushed for organizational capacity, which means that people need to learn that it is not enough to be angry, to be unsatisfied with a situation, but you need to organize to change it. I think that is a key lesson, For African audience, the lesson is very important across continents, starting from Nigeria. The civic energy is abundant. The youth movement rise, protests come up, then they die very quickly. Too often momentum dissipates and it does not translate to structure, it does not translate to change. Jesse Jackson taught that protest must be organized and is most transformed to change.
All right, Prof, thank you for speaking with us tonight. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.